grass cutting, weed eating.
And then they were involved, they got everything together for the chamber work day
Yeah, I would
on
imagine.
last Wednesday, and Jeff and Bart were there as well to help out throughout the day, and Steve was in there in the morning lending a hand, so they did a lot with that.
It was a good turnout. It was nice. Pretty day as well.
What else? Just mowing, weeding largely for the
We
parks.
haven't done any major improvements. We haven't taken any trees down, so we've been focusing on a water line and some other public works issues. So that's pulled people away for a little bit.
Yeah, they got the signs up in Valley Springs Park letting the public know of the future trail renovation. So,
Okay. Maybe next month they will be able to report more. Okay. Yeah. Moving on to old business. Master Plan Committee reports, fundraising committee.
We haven't met yet.
Okay. Trail Committee.
Still waiting for official confirmation of the trail up in Pure Marquette Park. Getting closer. We've filed some more paperwork, so we'll see where that takes us.
It's exciting. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, you'll all pay for it, but that's okay.
Yes, Mr. Carroll.
Since we're on trails, I receive emails from a group that is headed, I think, by somebody from the National Park Service, and they've been working on a trail plan. In what way does that relate to our work, and was this park board represented on that committee, or I should know that, I just don't.
yes, so, sorry. I'm a part of that group as well. Well, the, what do they call it, strategic partners or something?
Is the,
I forgot what they refer to us as within that committee. But basically, like you're on there, I'm the representative for the Board of Aldermen on there and the park board simultaneously. And then Happy's in that group as well.
Well, it looked like a good project. I mean, I didn't see anything that wasn't sort of obvious, actually, in the plan that they developed, but it, you know, it was good to have it on paper.
it's on paper. It's been vetted by the public, so there were meetings, they had meetings with people.
There you go, it's all
And
good.
so that's something that we can submit and use, which we did for the a trail over on St. Mary's Lane. We used the trail maps and the public information, or the public hearings that they had, to support our desire to have a trail run from, we initially thought from Green Tree Tavern over to the Amro House. However, they had to be shortened because there isn't enough right-of-way. So we're looking at Seraphin up to the Amro House, 10 foot wide, you know, it's a sidewalk. But it's a safer way to travel than walking down the street.
Well, good.
And and it gets the national parks connected by trail to other amenities in town, so.
And the Donzies were a part of that, so.
Yeah.
Right,
you know, They were,
right.
you know, big
Yeah.
into our park system, so.
Was that a meeting that took place a couple months ago? And they had a
Down at the,
interpretive
Yeah.
center? Okay.
down there, yep.
All right.
They've had several meetings over the course just with the committee, and then that was one of the public opportunities, so.
And so how did you get the email?
I get them all the time, too.
Oh, the one
From,
from St. Jet National Parks.
I hear it from somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
stuff from the
I
national
think
parks.
most all of you were included in that.
Yeah.
I think all of you were. I've seen your emails in there.
Yeah.
But
the
I've been
MPS?
attending.
I mean, is it MPS?
It's RCTA, it's River.
Okay.
But it's a
I'm
function
drawing
of the
blanks
National
today. I can
Park
look it
Service.
up.
The person coordinating it was an employee of the National Park Service out of Columbia, I think.
Yeah, it's National Park Service, RTCA, which stands for Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, this comes from St. John Trail and that animals, final trail analysis.
Oh, that's probably it, yeah.
No, this is final report.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I think it's relevant to our
Oh, yeah,
mission.
absolutely.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, I think it's just got a few of you on in the email contact, so I think they probably identified just a few people to include, hoping,
And all trails, I don't know what,
Probably so we don't have a quorum.
yeah.
We have to pick and choose.
Back, I don't know if this is old business or new business. I would guess it's new business. Let's continue on, I'm sorry. Okay, anything more on the trail committee? Playground committee? Did Kendra come out with something? I thought she was going to
She
send
did.
somebody something more.
She did, but we're at a standstill on the playground until we can get that section of trail put in and we know our elevations, so.
All right. And coming in winter time, I guess a lot of work would be more like research, looking into things more than physically getting anything done. So. Okay. Bathroom committee,
Where are we with the camera at Valley Springs? Is it still on
I
back
think they
order?
were still in back order. As soon as they're available, I'm sure Steve will get them ordered and
can't we just get a
installed.
room?
That was random.
I mean, I just hate,
Well, we don't have Wi-Fi.
or just,
We have to have a
That's
specific
recorded.
system.
can't you use Valley's Wi-Fi? Everybody hangs out there and uses Valley's.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we do have, at Valley, it's a guest,
Mm-hmm,
and I don't know if it's strong enough to reach.
yeah.
Well, it's better that if it's a city thing, that it's.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying, in the meantime, everything's getting destroyed.
Thanks for offering, though.
Was there new
I'm not
reports of
offering, I'm just
vandalism?
putting it out there. It's
No,
not
I'm
mine
just,
to
I'm
offer.
being silly, that I can't imagine something being on back order for, how long has this
Oh,
been on back
yes,
order for?
absolutely.
Well, with the pandemic and the supply chain issues and a lot of things, there's,
and those are getting straightened out. There's
yeah,
no
it's
more.
just a matter of time.
It's electronics.
Yeah. If you can get those railroads to cooperate, they might work a little better.
Really.
Have we had any more vandalism in the city, Marks, or anywhere?
Nothing, nothing too much of note.
We had vandalism out at the levee.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, good.
So there's,
No. I was gonna say,
there's
what kind of?
boards, there's boards up there that have information on what you're looking at.
Correct.
When you're looking
Yeah.
at the, towards the river. And we had one of those stolen. We had a sign stolen of John J. Audubon. And we had one of those no unauthorized vehicle signs damaged in the post, so.
Can't have nothing nice.
Who is responsible for mowing around the kiosk at the parking
That's a
lot?
good question. As far as I know, it's the levy commission.
Well, I
That
need to do
explains
it. I mean, I would do it myself if I had a string trimmer.
I don't think a string trimmer is going to work. You're going to need something a lot heavier to get through those stalks now because of how much it's out, how much it's growing.
Well, an axe. Well, I have an axe. Maybe I'll just
Machete.
go out there and
A
whack
scythe.
at it. But even if it was just around the kiosk, it would make a big improvement in the, and, you know, we're hosting the Missouri Parks Association in a couple of weeks, a statewide organization, and I would, you know, I would like to show it to them, but a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
I got an old antique Fiscal in the front porch if you want to borrow it.
I might. Well, you know what, I got a grass whip too, and that thing it's amazing what it can do. I might do that.
We're going backwards, not forward.
Or we can find the
Well,
people
do
who
they
stole the
not want to
signs.
do it, or what?
They told us they were going to get out and do it, so I'm just.
Well, maybe they've done it.
Well, they bale hay, what, twice a year, 3? If
Yeah,
you're lucky.
yeah.
So, and that's the only time it gets
But
cut.
they do more grass cutting along certain areas
Oh,
of
do they?
the levee to keep things
Oh.
down.
Okay.
And that apparently wasn't part of what the contractor knew he was supposed to do.
I don't know what the rules are, but I tried to go out there this morning and the train was blocking the road. And how long can that happen? I mean, how long can they do that?
I believe the regulation is 10 minutes.
Okay, well, one time I offered to go home and make the guy lunch in the caboose and bring it back and everything. That's aggravating, especially, I've been lucky, I've never been caught on the other side.
Well, there was somebody on the other side trying to get out, and they just dumped their branches or something.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what?
That's this,
What if they had a, medical issue or something?
that's this group that's switching for Mississippi Line, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
It's not BNSF and it's not Union Pacific. But even though it's on Union Pacific tracks,
Did you wait a lot? Did you have to?
No,
wait?
I went somewhere else, but I wasn't on the other
I've
side of
got
the
ca-
line.
I've got
I'm worried
caught-
about that person.
I used to walk it and I used to get caught over there.
I guess you could, if in an emergency, you could drive around on the levee out to,
There's also a phone number on the stop sign.
If you can get to the stop sign.
That's true,
I
because
don't
you'd
think
be
it's- I
calling the
don't think it's
wrong,
on
you'd be
both
calling the
sides.
wrong.
now how come you know so much about it?
I might know somebody that works for the railroad. But if you're coming from,
The dump site,
For-
it's
Yeah.
gonna be NSF.
yeah, and you don't want to get hold of them. That's not their fault. But if you're coming the other way, there's a number on that one.
But that's rare that it
That's-
happens.
and-
I know,
and-
a lot of
and-
times-
You have to be
honest-
so
and honestly,
unlucky for that to happen, but
Yeah.
it will happen.
and honestly, you don't want to call that number unless you have a car stuck on the track or it's a real emergency,
Sure.
because,
If it's that bad, just drive the other way around.
But it's normally
Right.
10-minute thing.
if I'm correct, that doesn't mean they can only say that. That's, regulation says you can only block a crossing for 10 minutes. They can sit there for 20, 30, 40 minutes. They're going to get fined for it. But,
Oh,
sometimes, like say you have a issue up the tracks and they can't go anywhere, they try to stay off the crossings, or they'll break the train and split crossings. But, like,
well, 10 minutes is, I think, reasonable,
Yeah.
sort of, but 20 or 30 might not be.
I don't know what kind of rules these other folks switching have to follow. I would think the same ones, but
So next time you get stuck, call him.
they certainly don't know how to
I
blow
was
the
gonna
train.
say, I think I'll call
They
you.
certainly
what I
don't,
said.
they certainly don't know how to blow a train whistle.
Certainly not.
Okay.
Okay.
Didn't mean to.
That's
divert
okay.
us, But it's related in a way to our
Yeah,
mission,
well,
because
yeah.
it's sort of a semi-park out there.
Well, when did that vandalism happen? Do we know?
2 months ago.
I was gonna say when the sign.
No, wait a minute,
Wait.
you had called and talked to
Right.
Jared. and
And I apparently found it just the day after it happened, because Vern had seen this, or you or somebody had seen the sign when it was up, like 2 days before, and when I went out there, it was gone. Is the Fish and Wildlife gonna replace that?
They'll put in for it eventually when the new budget starts. The new budget doesn't start until October 1st.
So it's not vandalized, it's completely gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Oh,
But it was removed. It wasn't cut, ripped, torn,
Oh, just the
pushed
top of
over.
it
It was
taken.
just, it took the bolts out, took the sign off.
It just makes no sense.
everybody keep an eye
Well,
on
if you know
everybody's
anybody that's
garage.
got one.
Go search all the man caves in town.
Yeah, really.
So
Well,
somebody
that's
say,
exactly
because they're
where it's
at.
not,
I know that's
those,
exactly
those
where it's
aren't
at.
light. It's not like they were on a bike or a moped. It
yeah.
had to been a side-by-side or something big enough to haul
And it would
that
have to be
away.
at night, it's gotta be more than 2 people.
Not
It's gotta be
necessarily. You go up there in the middle of the day and start doing it, somebody just thinks you're working on the sign.
Yeah, because it's
That's true,
kind of
too.
far away
I mean,
to
that's
see.
kind of my
Wow.
thinking.
That's why the train was
Shame
parked
on
for
you,
10 minutes.
people.
Yeah.
Nobody get in this one.
All right, let's move on to new business.
All right.
This is where we look into our old paper. What is the new business?
New business
New business?
is, since nothing was reported to Pam, there's nothing on the agenda. It's if any of you all have anything to bring up.
I do. John Kuntz from Lime Kiln reached out to me asking in the spring, they are going to have a volunteer cleanup crew come out as well. And we reached out to the park board to see if, in the spring, if we had any places that we could use some help. And also they were willing to possibly match some funds or donate funds for beautification towards bulbs or bushes, landscaping.
Trail.
Maybe trail,
Yeah,
block for the
well, that's what
trails.
I said, trail, I think
Yeah,
that's
it's Holly
well.
Springs Trail.
Yeah,
um,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I said I'd bring it up to you, I said I don't see any problem with that at all, and we would talk more numbers and more specifics if we all approved. And I said, I'm sure we would, but I would bring it up. So I have all his contact, I'm sorry, it's at work, I left it on my desk, but it sounds great. for the
Oh,
lime kiln
absolutely,
wanting
yes.
to get involved now as well, so things might be starting to happen. So if I could report back to him and say everybody's on board with
Absolutely.
that?
Take all the help we can.
All right, that's great. That's my new business. Anybody else?
So I'll just go ahead and update you all on a few things. So on the 21st, last week, we had the Chamber Leadership Program. We touched on a little bit during the Alliance report, but the Chamber of Commerce does a leadership program throughout the year with the same group of students and pick the parks. So we went out to Valley Springs Park and did a lot of cleanup there. Hauled off about 2 trailer loads of like sticks, tree debris, things like that, down to the dump site. Jeff and Bart with Alliance were there working all day with us. And like I said earlier, Steve Wilson was there for the morning part of it. And I think they had about a dozen students in the class out there, between students and chamber members. And then in the afternoon, I gave a presentation at the community center to all the students and seemed to go over really well, and had a lot of them, ask me questions about if they went back to their businesses and potentially organized a cleanup day like this in the future, if it'd be possible. So maybe that might have been some fallout from that, some good positive stuff from that, because I do know we had at least 1 or 2 people from Mississippi Lime in that class. But yeah, these are members of the community and other organizations and businesses, so they were really interested, and a lot of them commented that are like, you just don't really know what's here until you get into it, and so they were pleasantly surprised at the work the board's doing, the plans in place, and potentially being a part of it in the future. I think everything went well there.
Any prospective new board members?
No, I'm happy, and I know of a couple that were interested. It's just timing had been kind of not in favor, and we're approaching the time of year where you guys will have to decide how you're going to want to proceed with your meetings, because I know in the past couple years that I've been here, you've rearranged them for November and December. So if you're going to do that, probably need to start thinking about that.
We don't have one in December. We've had a get-together of some sort.
Yeah, but you just need to think about that, and then maybe by the October meeting, announce a decision on whether you're going to have a November meeting, when it's going to be, if it's going to be the same week, because your meetings tend to fall with the holidays.
Right.
And this year, it's spot on the holiday.
Yeah.
Well,
25th, I mean.
Yeah.
And then, so I kind of talked with Happy, and it's kind of time to reach out to the people that have been interested again, but we'd hate to reach out to them, bring them here, and then cancel 2 meetings in a row and lose the momentum. So it may be something that we try to, unless you know somebody that wants to join right now without conversation, much conversation, it might be something that we kind of make do until the new year, when we can regain that momentum after the holiday, if that makes sense. But again, if you guys know of anybody that wants to join right now, by all means. But
Invite them to a meeting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Invite them to a meeting, or, I mean, even just sitting down with them and having a good conversation about, the future of the parks here, the plans we have in place, what we want to do, and things like that. Or find out what they're
Well, I would
interested
think
in.
the Donzies would be a natural idea, thing, if they're not compromised by having served as a consultant, but they did it for free, so I don't know why it would be a conflict.
Well, we do have them on
But they're on
retainer.
retainer.
Oh, they're on retainer?
For- Yeah,
Okay.
with our
Well,
grants and
then that's out.
everything.
Yeah.
Both of them?
Yes.
Mhm.
And then, speaking of dollars, I said I wanted to kind of go over the budget with y'all. The Board of Aldermen has approved the budget for this next fiscal year, which will start on October 1. you guys have the budget, or you guys have the accounting report for this current year. But the line item, I think it's 20-20-8,000, it's infrastructure improvements line item. That's at 97,525. That's going to be the same for this next fiscal year. Of that 97,525, about 74,000 is potential grant money. $20,000 of that grant money is secured with the community foundation grant that is to be used towards a trail. And then about 54,000 is for the DNR trail grant that we've applied for. Hoping we can hear something back in the next couple days or so, but if that's not awarded, y'all might consider trying to do that trail with whatever funds we have available. So if we take out the grant money from that 97,525, you'll be left with about 23,525. But we'll still have that 20,000 as long as we go after the trail. So.
No, just quick, the trail, was that a matching grant or not?
Matching, but it was a 60-40 split.
60/40, okay, that's what I couldn't remember, okay.
Yeah, so the community foundation grant of $20,000, they've stipulated that needs to go towards the trail project. If we don't, they'll want to redirect those funds themselves. It's not for us to find a new project for. So if we don't get that DNR grant, we have about 43,000 or so that we can throw towards that first section of trail. And so much of our next projects depend on getting that trail in place and understanding what elevations that's going to come into, because the potential playground up there, the restrooms, all that's going to need to be tied in with a pathway, an accessible pathway. So it really is kind of
Would
the
that
first
much
step.
money give us a section of trail that made any logical sense, or does it end in the middle of nowhere, or?
That's what I'm visualizing this whole time, is that the money the cost of that trail is only so long, right? I mean, the money that we're getting for it is only, the trail is how long all around?
600, the whole trail?
Yeah.
3/4 of a mile.
It's 1/8 of a mile, I think.
So how much are we talking about?
Well, if we were to get this grant, the initial figures were that with all the funds that we'd have available, it'd get us from the parking lot at the big pavilion down along the basketball court, across the road just a little bit to that first or second small pavilion north of the soccer field. So it's a pretty good stretch.
And there's a logic to it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's,
And that makes sense, that way
Yeah,
you can
it's
build
a-
your playground. Yeah.
well, it's the most logical place to start with
Right.
establishing your elevations to build off of for the other
Oh,
sections
gotcha.
of trail, right?
Gotcha.
And then while we're working on that section of trail, if we can focus on getting that area fixed up, then that becomes a usable spot for the community before moving on to, because we can try to patchwork these different projects in. Maybe we do the multi-purpose court, but if you don't have accessible trails there from day one,
You're gonna end up like we are now.
it's not any more benefit until those go in. So.
And maybe if you do part of the trail, maybe people would be interested in finishing the trail.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean,
It'll be a show and tell. trail.
Exactly.
yeah,
Here's
so,
what we came up with, we could use the help of the community to finish this project. I mean,
Right.
or you can say we have, roughly 40 grand to start the trail, and, maybe we just look at the section from the parking lot to the road. That'd be a slightly reduced cost. What's the difference on what we have versus what we need to get that section done? And then you can figure out what asks for the community you have, requests, so.
Happy if somebody comes in and says, we'll donate 40,000, will you dedicate that section to us? Would that be doable? A
Absolutely.
little rock or little something
Sure,
It
we'll
says
put it-
this portion of the trail is completed by Mississippi Life, for
It's up to
example.
you all. what you
Yeah,
wanna
I
put.
would-
I'm just asking, I mean,
I mean,
Shoot,
that's
we-
something for
we
you
can
guys to
have stands
consider
on
if
the
you guys
concrete
want
for
to.
that matter.
you know what I mean? If somebody wants to do that,
absolutely.
maybe that would be the way to
This
go.
portion,
The city completed a
Well,
third.
brought
of it.
to
What
you
we'll
by-
do is we'll invite them out when we're pouring the concrete, let them write their initial thing.
Yeah.
Stick their
a
hands.
hands.
Maybe we just
I like
make it
that.
a boardwalk, right?
That's what John
Walk
was,
the same.
had brought up when he was talking about, all the exercise equipment at Valley Springs
right.
has, when I was reading that Planters Bank and all the old businesses that used to be in
Right.
St. Genevieve. It was kind of sad to look at all those businesses that aren't even around anymore, but their legacy lives on at Valley Springs Park.
So yeah, that's something definitely you guys can consider. I would maybe recommend establishing a more formal program, that way it's consistent with your, if somebody donates for this and then gets their name here, but the next person donates and their name consistency is not the same, somebody signs a little bigger or
Yeah,
things like,
you gotta keep it all.
or
the
things
same.
like that, or
Or even
you fall off
we
from
can
it.
even put a bench
I'm
out.
just asking that we are
Bench out
open to
there
the
with their
idea
name.
if people
Yeah.
want to do that, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you know.
if you've ever been down to Perryville to the Miraculous Metal, they spent buku's bucks on redoing that entire thing. And people bought benches, or they bought spots, things right in the middle of the path, they have their names, in the middle of the path. So there's, they spent, a lot of people donate a lot of
Yeah.
money to, and that was like a $5 million project.
Really?
To upgrade everything and redo all the paths and everything, and it's quite beautiful.
Is that what my mother's donations went to?
I was gonna say, if we could turn this into a religious park.
Well, and so, kind of tailing off from what you said, Barb, like one question that I got asked at, when I was meeting with the chamber group was kind of like smaller ways that they can, get involved, because some of them named some of the organizations that they were in, they might be interested in getting a bench or something like that. So one thing that we'll have to figure out, maybe it's a good thing for these winter months, is what kind of benches you want to use, because you'll want that to be consistent throughout the trail and things like that. What kind of style you're going to go for, if you're going to go for your traditional park bench, if you want something a little bit more modern or contemporary, things like that. Picking out your drinking fountains, your picnic tables, your just color scheme in general, what colors you want for the pavilions, things like that.
And see, and if they buy those things, then we don't have to.
That's right.
Well,
Put some
That's
more
what-
money
that's
towards
what
the
she's
bigger
getting
part.
at.
yeah, so it's like once you establish what benches you want for your park, if we know it's a $500 bench and somebody knows that we know where we can get them and we know what we want, they'll be like, I'll take one bench and maybe
Right.
set up a program where they get a little
Mhm.
plaque or something on the back of the bench if they buy it. But that's something that we probably need to start working on soon as a board, because people are asking these questions, and especially if we're going to have these work days and present these plans to the community, we want to be able to capitalize on their inspiration to get involved, right? So,
It'd be like a wish list.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, I mean,
Here's your Christmas list.
well, and it's not
Well,
even only for
it's-
that, it's,
What I'm saying.
it's
if
because
you-
we don't have the money, that shouldn't stop us from
No,
getting it
but
planned
that's-
and picking
but-
out what
but-
we want.
But
Well-
you'd be able to take it to people and they're like, well, hey, what benches do you want? Well, here's what we kind of want to do. And they're like, oh, well, we'd like to buy 2 of those for you.
yeah. And that's
Yeah.
one part of it. The other part of it is, one request that Steve put in on behalf of the parks was, for this budget year, was enough money to get maybe about 3 picnic tables to start phasing some of those out. So if you have a list of what you want, right? You have pictures or web links or something for what you want, then in future, the next budget year, we can better, okay, here's for this section of trail, but we can also include a line item for
Okay, and
tables
so
and
when we
things.
start doing that, how do you realistically pick in your budget? If you don't really know what your budget is, but
You pick
keep
what
it-
you want for the park
pick a-
using a reasonable dollar figure. We're not gonna go out and buy $10,000 benches,
right.
right?
I was
but-
going to continue and say,
Sorry.
and the color scheme and the style, do we all bring in our own ideas, or we go through the books and we all agree on something? Is it just us? Do we throw it out to the community? Do we turn it over to a professional?
You can-
How do you do that?
I think that kind of stylistic, aesthetic judgment is best made by a small group.
Right.
Not even this whole board.
Right.
I'm mildly interested in the decision on that, but I'm very interested that it be consistent.
Correct.
And that somebody, and that we stick to it, because we don't want, oh, this is a pretty bench, that's the one I want, Martha, and it doesn't look anything like the bench.
Yeah,
It's a George
flow.
pick.
It's gotta flow.
Right, that's
Right.
what
That's
my
what it
question
does.
was. How do you start to decide the
Well,
price range and all that stuff? And like you said, say Martha does want, well, I'm only going to donate if I can donate this bench. I'm sorry that yours looks like
maybe that
this,
bench is a
but-
better fit for a different park.
Right.
in the
Right.
community. So you can break off into like a subcommittee. If you know people in the community that are interested in sitting in on the subcommittee, by all means. But if you get a committee together, they can thumb through some catalogs, websites, things like that. Like there's commercial park specific catalogs and
Right.
websites.
I-
And so that committee picks out a few that they think, brings it back to the board, says, what do you all think as a board? And then if they say, we don't like any of them, you go back and you say, well, here's 3 other ones that we were considering, but until,
and then be willing to stick with it.
yeah.
I guess my
and-
question was, where and how do, we do this? Maybe there's people in our community that has designed parks or stuff like that. Do we put a,
Well, we know there's 2 in our community that have worked
Well-
on.
well,
I
I mean,
was gonna suggest
Sensibly.
Dunsies, but yeah,
But-
it's a decision.
But we also have to be willing to, pay for their input as park professionals.
right, them.
So,
For example, like the benches at Main Street Park, I don't know what color scheme you want to stick with. Okay. Personally, I'd like to see like all natural, colors, earth tones, so to speak, none of this.
Well, and then that's like the beginning of the,
But, all right, but I'm saying.
design.
So you want to be consistent with your, say, park benches.
I understand all that.
whatever.
I was just curious how you begin that process, who you pull in, who, is it us?
Wait.
Is it
A
people out
subcommittee made
there?
up of this
Yeah, this,
group.
this board should have a subcommittee,
Yeah.
and should
Right.
include Ashley for sure. And so,
And come up with 4 or 5 different benches, different,
Right.
natural, whatever it is,
Okay,
and
there's
bring it
1,
up.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us here, so we're supposed to pull a subcommittee off of the 6? That's why I was asking, we bring people
You
in
need 3
from?
people from your park board, 3
Right.
people maximum.
yeah,
Okay,
2, it could be 2 if you trust 2.
Right, 2 or 3.
Right.
If you trust one person to do the homework and come back, that's up to you, but that's not much of a
You're going to be
committee.
stuck with what you
That's
have.
not
Well,
much of a
I guess
committee.
I'm not making
But-
myself
we would have to vote on it, so,
Well, sure.
they'll
Right.
come up with a proposal, and
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you want it all to be consistent throughout the entire thing, you need to have an idea of what each thing's going to, like your playground. What do you have for the playground? How do you want the playground? And that needs to be drawn up. You need an illustration of what you want. Do you want it to be all like wood, natural rock, or do you want it to look like
Right.
rock? And then that flows to the next thing that the next part of the trail or whatever, and is this going to be, if we decide on this one design for here, then it should flow to the next major thing, and we need it illustrated, you know.
I think that's taking
So
it a
it
step
all
further, because
flows.
That's
what
what
you're
I'm
looking
saying.
at.
So if you're gonna do the whole, but if you're picking
Can I
out,
see the
oh, I
numbers?
want a park
Hang on the
bench,
internet.
but it doesn't go with what you decide that this is going to, you know, the theme for this. You know, if you have you should have a theme for the
Yeah,
entire
I
thing,
understand all
Yes.
that. I was just
you
merely,
know. But you just can't go out and pick park benches out if you don't have a theme of what you
May have to
want
turn it on and
your
off.
stuff to be.
I disagree with that to an
Okay.
extent,
It's
because you
fine.
can still take,
Just had to shake it a bit.
say you want to stay with colors, as far as colors, say you just want to say like earth colors, you know, like I was
Yeah.
saying earlier, you can go with black benches, which you're going to go with any color you pick. And to me, I mean, I'm
It's
just,
easier to maintain because you can buy black paint that's.
right, I've always been a big fan of black benches. You know, they kind of stand out, they look nice, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, you know,
So you're probably gonna have different areas that have a theme, but I think what you're looking at is filler materials, you know.
right, and
those
that's,
spots that
right.
aren't-
And like
aren't
along,
within a theme that's in.
right, along the trail, you can stick with the same benches throughout. And that's what I was
Yeah.
getting at.
I was just talking about who starts
Exactly.
the whole.
This thing got blown
Like,
up. All she
do
wanted to
me
know
and
is how we
actually go
start.
have a few beers and decide, all right, this is what we're gonna do, let's bring it back to the board, you guys agree, okay, this is it, we're gonna get boards, we're gonna show the community, all that, that's,
Well, like one option is you can keep it a neutral color palette with brown and black. I mean, I'm just saying this can help give you some.
Right.
This could just like help give you guys some direction for your committee, right? So if you as a board are saying like, we want to kind of keep it neutral throughout the park, right? Because your bench along the trail, your benches along the trail should be consistent with each other, but it doesn't necessarily have to match the playground equipment. But I can tell you from the playground committee, they're wanting to stick to earthy tones, your browns, your blues, your
Right.
greens,
Right.
nothing too bold or whatever.
No
You know,
reds or-
welcoming, but not.
Right.
So how,
Colors.
how
Yeah.
expensive are, I can't see it from here. What's it?
That, the
It
one,
could be. I would say you're probably averaging about 500 to 700 on your benches.
depending on material.
And things like that. And these are your recycled benches, your recycled plastic lumber, but there's all different kinds. You have the thermoplastic covered kinds that are kind of that metal mesh.
That's what, oh, those.
And then they're coated with a thermoplastic material, which makes them durable and weather
That's what Main
resistant.
Street had on it.
We have some of those in the park already, but I think they've been there for a very long time.
some of them are oxidized, like,
And they're to where
but
they're
they're still there.
no longer well suited. They'll probably need to be replaced.
Yep.
But they've been there for a really long time, I believe.
And it is amazing when you start pricing out everything, how costly, even trash receptacles, which
Oh, yeah.
are very important, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
every little thing
It always
costs.
was, but now it's even worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, and they'll think, oh, okay, well, let's have a little shelter for some shade, there's another, 8,
Those things
9
are
grand
expensive.
or whatever.
So, yeah, I mean, this is getting way off now, but are you talking about they were wanting to replace some of the picnic tables where?
I think he was,
Because,
yeah, just.
Oh, just the ones,
yeah.
oh, okay. I
'Cause we
thought
had-
they were talking about like the picnic shelters.
Yeah, because
No,
we had,
no, those
Okay.
are the big
I
pavilion
know,
with
okay,
the
okay.
loose tables. over
we had
Such
originally
a
talked about just
hodgepodge.
replacing the lumber on them, but I mean, the frames of those picnic tables have seen some better
I was
days.
gonna say, those are probably
And
as old
then
as
you
the
replace the lumber
shelter.
and that's just a short-term fix.
Yep.
With this, they make them better
Yeah.
now. So I don't know what he was looking at as far as style, if he had anything in mind.
thermoplastic.
Yeah,
Thermoplastic is what a lot of cities use because of their durability.
yeah.
Right, makes sense.
Are
So
they-
as of now, we have how much, like, am I looking at?
You have 0 at this point.
Okay, that's my question.
You're at the end of the budget year, which would then turns over on October 1st.
As of October
Yeah.
1st, we will have what to work with?
You
Well-
have 20,
It's about 23,000,
22,000.
I'm looking at this 24087 maybe.
but keep in mind that might have to go towards doing the trail and,
Yeah,
with
I'd
your
say we should just
resources.
stick it to the trail anyway, but.
Well, can the picnic tables come out of somewhere else? Does it have to be,
That's always the line that you have real money in. So it's, the line number is 8,000, it's infrastructure. It also pays for all of your improvements that go in the park. Most of that is dedicated to the trail, because that's how we have to budget it. But we also budget a line item of revenue that we expect from from RTP, from Missouri DNR, that helps pay for that trail. But also we have the 20,000 that was committed by the community foundation, and then what we're kicking in as from the general fund.
Where is the money from the tower? Is that
It's
even-
in that.
It's in there.
It gets
Okay,
factored in
that's-
that.
Okay.
There's a lot of different line
Yeah,
items
yeah.
that
Yeah, I just want to make
move
sure.
here.
Get all
So
blended.
it's a
But-
revenue
And
source.
did rent go up since, or is it still the same? Once you set a price, you can't go up with it?
With the-
Like what they're paying a month?
We haven't got to come up to a lease
Okay.
renewal.
Say, how long was that lease for, do you know? I don't remember.
10, I think 10.
Not-
I thought it was 10 years too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as long as you have more than about 12,000, you know you're getting your tower money back.
Okay.
If future board gives you less than 12,000, you're not getting your money back.
That's your money back and more.
Yeah.
So we got the tower money plus 8,000.
well, I,
9,000.
back to the benches and the color scheme and all that stuff. You know, we need to do that sooner than later. Just,
And so what you might do, so you're not taking up your regular session, is schedule some work sessions. That way you can have a quorum, but you're not, having to make certain decisions. You can talk through it without if anybody,
Well, we did a
parks and
lot
stuff.
of this at Tower Grove Park, and I'm willing to serve on this.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
there's-
I mean, I'll step up, I know nothing, of this is
And
not
it's
my
still-
cup of tea, so
and
if
it's still
Mark
beautiful,
and
just
John
so
and maybe,
speak,
if you want to be in on it,
Oh, I'd love
I'm
to. I'd love
not,
to
I'm
do
not
that.
shoving Barb out of the way, but
Oh,
if you guys
no.
want to,
I
I
will.
mean, you're the
Well, you gotta
far more
consider
experts on
color,
this.
material, style, maintenance costs, big issue.
It's a big issue,
And
yeah.
then purchase cost. And
Yeah,
you get those things done, and then you also want something, because these things go in and out of availability, you want something that won't look terribly bad from another model that gets,
right.
in 2025 becomes what they sell. And you can do all that. It's not that hard. You just need to have a couple of people make a proposal, and then this board can vote on it, and then we go for it.
Mark, are you okay being on this?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
well, I would suggest we do that. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm trying to move on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John and Mark, and I don't know if Lauren wants in on this or not.
yeah, I would love to be in on it
Yeah,
as
so you can
well.
have- You
So,
can
There's
have
your three
three,
people.
otherwise you'll have, any more and you'll have a quorum, which we would turn into a work session instead.
we-
But
It's just a subcommittee.
yeah,
Right.
we can get together on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Did
It
you
won't
have-
be hard, really.
It's-
I
it's
know,
not-
and
it's
I,
really
trust
easy.
me, I
It's not
know that. I
difficult.
just wanted to know,
Well,
I
now
mean,
we
I
got
know
this.
of colors, but I know all that stuff. I was just
25 minutes
curious.
later, we finally got a committee. We're
Great,
good. Let's
okay,
move on.
let's move on. Did you have anything else more to say? Or to touch on? Because I forgot I have something else too.
No, just, just keep in mind that the end of the year is coming with the holidays and stuff, so by next meeting, you'll want to have your plan together of how you're going to approach your November and December meetings that
Well,
way.
Yeah.
November meeting
I-
is on the 28th, which is after, right?
Yeah.
It's after Thanksgiving.
Right. It's Monday after.
So that's no big deal. It's the Christmas, it's the
In December, we either don't
Usually we
meet
don't
or
have
have an
one in
early one.
Yeah.
Are we
Have a
meet
dinner.
and have a dinner?
Well, your meeting and your dinner should not be the same.
No, we don't have
No,
a meeting.
We don't have a
in
meeting.
December.
No,
just
we don't
get
meet.
together.
We
We
just-
just-
Okay, you
have
just
like-
have a dinner,
We
okay.
have like little Halloween.
No, it's not,
holiday get-together.
there's no
There's no
business
meeting.
being
That's
discussed.
fine, I just wanted to clarify.
We're just going in
And
there
if
and
we
talk
talk
about you
about
and
something, we talk about something.
everybody else on the board that don't show up.
Go for
Make
it.
all the decisions for them.
Go.
And technically, you can have that on the 19th instead of the 26th. It's early enough in
Well,
December.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm talking about December.
no.
This way, if somebody wants to leave, somebody wants to go somewhere. they still-
December, we usually just don't have a meeting in
Right.
we
December.
just
talking
kind of
about
get together.
If we do, I get together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So did
We're
you
not concerned about
get
that.
that? on our meetings.
Yeah, so
October will be the
you're gonna keep
same.
your November meeting as is,
28.
the Monday after,
Yeah. why
and
not?
then, planning on no December meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
And make sure October, are we meeting on the 24th or the 31st? Because that's the 5 Mondays.
We always,
You meet on
the
the
4th,
Just wanna
it's the
make sure.
24th.
We're not meeting on Halloween.
And then no
No.
meeting in December. And then January, we're back into 1, 2, 3, fine. January 23rd.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, so that's taken care of there. I forgot that Sam and I had talked about the pumpkin glow.
Yeah.
You know, last meeting, it was brought back to, go back to the art walk.
Yeah.
Well, we had discussed, and I wanted to run this by you guys, to tie it in with the Spooktacular that's going on downtown on the 22nd. Any other dates, neither one of us would have been available, and I was worried, we were all worried that if,
That's, isn't that also the same night as Deja Vu, Spirit Reunion?
No, that's
It's-
the 28th.
Isn't it?
No, it's the same night, same night as
Yeah.
Spectacular this year.
Oh,
Because
okay.
never mind.
there's a ton of stuff going on that
Yeah.
day.
Jay's that day too.
It's heritage, and there's a band competition going on
Oh,
too.
down
that-
at the,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a busy, busy day, but it would kind of be, it just makes sense to do it on that day at Main Street Park instead of up in the park, because the movie's getting moved too, and it'll be Beetlejuice was showing for that month. And she had suggested we show it at Main Street Park. So we are going to have a meeting Tuesday at 2 o'clock at the Oris, if anyone would be interested in coming or helping out or volunteering for that night. We know that it's usually kind of slim and that you usually show up.
Yeah, I should be there.
But, and if you can't make the meeting, we can let everybody know what's going on.
Okay.
But Sam and I will be meeting at 2 o'clock to discuss it. And is it all right with you guys, or do you guys have any problem with us doing the pumpkin glow
Do it whenever
at
you
Main
want
Street
to.
Park? Okay.
No, you're good.
It'll be,
I won't be
because the
there,
Spooktacular's over at 6, we'll have it from 6 to 8.
By then it'll be dark.
Right. And that way, if everybody's okay with that, we can get it
And that's on the
October 22nd.
Saturday.
Piggybacking off of that with the movies in the park, with the Halloween movie moving to later in the month, the original movie date was scheduled for this Saturday. Library can't make it and Sam can't make it, so I'm left to set up by myself. If we were to do Encanto, because it was canceled due to rain last time, but I think I might just cancel it. And we can maybe reschedule and do like indoor with Oris or something.
I think that's what she was
Okay.
assuming, and then have Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I hadn't had a chance to talk to her
Okay.
much, but as long as there was no outcry here if I canceled it, then we'll,
Okay.
because we already have the movie purchased for Encanto, we had to make a last minute decision to cancel it with the rain that day. So we have that license good for a year to show, but with the evenings getting cooler, you know, we could potentially have a better turnout if we do find an indoor venue like the Oris or somewhere for a family movie like that,
That would be great.
so.
That would be good.
Okey doke.
And that frees up my Saturday. Just kidding. It does.
No, you're not kidding.
I would have, no, I would have done it. It is a lot to do on your own though, with that much of equipment. So,
I can't stress enough. I know we're all busy and we're all working, but I am very tired with my time. That's, because any activity that's scheduled on a weekend, that's my busy time. So my hands are always tied, and it's hard to find people to replace me at work, but anytime I can help, I would love to help. All right, anything else? I lost my place here. Any other business? Anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
A second.
All right, we're adjourned then, folks. Thank you.